Hello, this is Noga Hallman, and you are watching Upside Down Parenting, where parenting meets personal transformation. Today's question comes from Lisa, and it's about the clash between parenting and freedom. If you're like me, her vivid description of the pain around this issue will really speak to your heart. And this is the question. Hey Noga, I've been thinking lately about freedom in my parenting and wanting to experience more of it. I feel burdened so much of the time, and my family feels this energy around me. I want to grow away from it and to move towards really choosing what I'm doing, but when the whole day I'm in a rush to keep up with everything I need to do, I just can't see where freedom comes into the picture. Also, I believe that the only real way to give my children a sense of freedom is by coming to a place in myself where I feel a real sense of freedom. I remember how when I got married, my husband and I didn't want to do what many people feel must be done, like ordering flowers and meeting with 4 different caterers and then poring over the menu for hours, running back and forth to dress fittings, and we didn't do these things. I know some people could love every minute of it and feel total freedom in doing it, or one could hate it completely. We only did what we really were happy to do, and I think this was felt by our guests. And getting back to my home, I feel jailed when I relate to making dinner, doing laundry, etc. All these things that I need to do, as if I don't have a choice. If I need to do it, then I want to choose to do it, or not do it at all. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa, the topic of freedom has many facets, and as your letter testifies, it's also very painful. I felt trapped for almost a full decade since I've become a mother, and I'm happy to share with you today some of my insights about the seeming clash between freedom and parenting. Also, look forward to an upcoming video in which I answer the question that I get asked all the time, which is, how do you find time to read? There I will share with you 3 of my secrets for doing more of what brings you to life while your kids are still dependent upon you. My first insight is that freedom from always equals freedom to. What this means is that there's always a freedom exchange, a freedom barter. I'll give you an example from my life. When my first daughter was born, it was the year 2000, and I was at the height of a tour guiding career here in my favorite city in the world, Jerusalem. I invested already 8 years in tour guiding. I had shelves full of material related to tour guiding, and I even made some appointments with new places to work with a week before my daughter was born. I was sure she will be born and I'll go back to working. She was born, and all I wanted to do was be a stay-at-home mom. So I realized that the only way to do it for me was to quit, to fully quit. So basically I dropped 8 years of tour guiding for the freedom to be with my daughter at home without anything pulling me from outside. That was the first barter I made. Then a few years later, when my 5th daughter was born, I made the exact opposite type of barter. I left home in order to go to the university a few days a week and hop from classes to the cafeteria, where I really, really enjoy drinking a lot of coffee. And that was the barter I made. I bartered hours at home with the ability or the freedom to be in the university for as long as I needed in order to get a degree. I'll tell you the truth though, at the time it didn't feel like freedom, because I had to run out of the house and leave little kids in the house and then run back home because they already needed me after a few hours. So the freedom was not felt back then. But looking back, I see that all the choices I made along the way were really about freedom, bartering this freedom for that freedom. And I want to invite you to look back at your choices and see the freedom that you had in the moment you made those choices. For me, it's still something I need to remember, sometimes on a daily basis. I need to remind myself that I do have choices and that I do have freedom. It's just not complete freedom, because freedom is not a goal in itself. It's always a means for doing something that you want to do. And here's my second insight about freedom. Freedom is like essential oil. A few drops go a long way. Just like the beautiful example you gave from your wedding, where you did do things according to the protocol. You did have a wedding hall, and you did have a dress, and you did have food for your guests, but you did it in your own way, and you infused your and your husband's personality into that event. So it's the same thing with parenting. In fact, there's a Rebbitzin that I like very much. Her name is Hadassah Fruman, and she says that anything that you don't do out of a sense of freedom is really flawed. You should have a sense of freedom in every single thing you do in your life. And when she was asked, okay, so how do I infuse that freedom in everything? Because after all, I do have responsibilities, and I am tied to a calendar and to a daily schedule where I have to pick up kids and I have to run from place to place. How do I infuse the freedom? She gave such a simple and beautiful answer, and I would like to share it with you. Decide that once a week you will do one thing out of a sense of freedom, and then gradually you give things a fresh look and ask, how do I feel like doing it? So you start from 1 hour a week, from one thing that you do every week, and then you apply that question to more and more things that you do. How do I feel like doing it? This is the drop of freedom that you add to anything that you have to do or that you already are doing out of rote. So Lisa, I want to leave you with a final thought before we wrap up. And if you take anything from this episode, this should be it. It's true that a lot of our freedom is taken away, especially our freedom to come and go. It's taken away when we have children, with all the responsibilities and everything. And it's also true that we're going to get a lot of this freedom back, if not all of it. We're going to get our time and our space back once our kids are a little older. Also, God willing, we'll have our intellectual capacities intact and we'll be able to start any career we want or to go back to any career that we ever had to stop because we had children. All this is true. But I want to encourage you to take this opportunity while you're still parenting little kids and while your freedom to move around as you wish is not really existent. I would like you to take this opportunity that you have your little kids at home and that you are bound to the house and bound to a schedule and bound to the hours when you have to come to pick up your kids from school or whatever it is, and to see how free you can feel in these circumstances, because it's not a big deal to feel free when you don't have any of these responsibilities tying you down. The big deal and the big accomplishment is to feel free while you're still attached like this. And if you're able to do that while your kids are still around you and still demanding, then you'll be able to find your freedom anywhere and any time in your life under any circumstances. So Lisa, this was my answer to your question. And now I invite you to add your drop of freedom into the comment section below. In a situation that recurs every week that you're kind of tired and bored of and you don't see any freedom in it, how do you feel like doing it? How are you going to do it differently this week? Please add it directly into the comment section below. Now, Upside Down Parenting is about adding more freedom to your experience. So don't miss out on any of our practical and empowering tips on personal transformation through parenting challenges. Subscribe to our mailing list on UpsideDownParenting.com. Have you noticed? It's free. Thank you for watching, and until next time, get curious about the parenting challenges that come your way, because they are your custom-made opportunities for being yourself inside and out as a parent and beyond.